Welcome to While You're Single TV, the channel for single adults who desire godly relationships. Hi, it's OJ Talks here, the host of While You're Single, a service for singles. What is the big deal with While You're Single? Where did that phrase come from? Well, actually, I was inspired to come up with the phrase while you're single about 13 years ago. Around that time, I began developing the desire to get married. I began to contemplate, who am I going to get married to? At the time, there was a young lady that caught my attention. I thought perhaps that she might be the one that God had for me. She fit the biblical profile. She went to church, she served in church, she seemed serious about her relationship with Christ. She was attractive. And just in case you did not understand what I just said, she was hot. She looked like the one. She talked like the one. She walked like the one. She smelled like the one. The dogs were barking that she was the one. The birds were singing she was the one. I was feeling like I think I found the person God had for me. But first things first. Christian relationships 101. I needed to talk to God first about my plans. So I went to pray about this. I talked to God about it through prayer. And the essence of my prayer was this: God, I don't have time to spend a few days, a few weeks, a few years with someone only to discover that they were not the one for me. I don't have time for that. Maybe you do. I know some people do, but I didn't have time for that. So I was like, God, listen, if she's not the one for me, let your will be done. But if she's the one for me, let your will be done as well. I know that's what I prayed, but deep down in my heart, I felt like I was on the right track. So after I prayed to God, I went to the lady and expressed myself to her. And I was right. She was the one for another guy. She was the one for another guy. I wasn't the one for her. But I was the one for somebody else 13 years later. But I'll tell you about that story later on. But back to 13 years ago, when I told this lady that I was interested in her and she told me she was interested in some other guy, I was disappointed. I fell down. But I accepted it and I was like, you know what? It's okay. And I left. While I was licking my wounds, I get a phone call from a friend of mine. And he calls me to find out if I'll be willing to speak at a True Love Waits seminar. You gotta be kidding me. I just got rejected from being in a relationship, and I'm getting a phone call to find out if I was gonna speak or if I was willing to speak in a True Love Waits seminar. Are you kidding me? It's funny how God seems to want to take hold of you when you are down. That experience helped me realize how God often uses your lowest point as your turning point. Despite the pain I was going through at the time, I felt like God wanted to use that experience to bring out some things and use me to address some things. So I was seeking God. I was like, okay, God, what's the deal? What's going on here? And I felt like in my heart, I felt like God was asking me the question, Tokes, are you ready to be in a relationship? And the answer was an absolute no. I was not ready to be in a relationship. Then I felt like the next question was, okay, Tokes, what do you need to be doing while you are single to prepare yourself to be in a relationship? That's where the phrase while you are single came from, because I'm sure you'll agree with me. The best time to prepare for marriage is not when you are married, is while you are single. Because if you stop preparing for how to have a successful marriage when you are married, it might be too late. So, while you are single, what do you need to be mindful of to ensure that not only you find the right person, but you keep the person in your life? Those were the things I was receiving from God, and that served as the message in the True Love Weight seminar. While you are single, do this, do that. It started as a message. Then in 2003, it evolved as my first manuscript, While You Are Single, A Guide to Finding the Right Lover. The book is not currently in the market because an updated and revised and expanded version will be coming out by God's grace this fall. And I will let you know when While You're Single, the updated, revised, and expanded version is released this year in the fall. But that's the story of While You're Single. Your lifestyle as a single person is a seed that will determine the harvest you reap as a married person. Let me say that one more time. Your lifestyle as a single person is a seed that will determine the harvest you'll reap as a married person. That's why it's so critical, so important to make deposits and investments in your life while you're single that will help you have a great godly return when you are married. I'm excited to share insights, wisdom that I have learned over the years to help prepare you for wholesome, healthy, godly relationships. Stay tuned to this channel. Subscribe to this channel so you get automatic updates of the weekly insights I'm going to be sharing through this channel. Share with your friends that you know need to hear these things. Like this channel. And of course, I've already started sharing a lot of these things in the While You Are Single podcast, which you can listen to on our website, whileyouaresingle.org. You can also go to iTunes, look for OJ Talks Ministries in the podcast section, and you can subscribe to the While You're Single podcast on there as well. So subscribe to the channel, give you updates of our weekly insights, as well as the While You're Single services here in Houston, Texas. So until I see you next week and share something new with you next week from While You're Single, take care, stay blessed.